Hello everybody, Michael with McEwen Gunstocks here with a new project. Sorry it's been a couple weeks or more since I posted. After the last project I was a little wiped out on the shop and built a website for a client. But now I'm back in the shop. I got another web project, but it's on hold at the moment. So here I am back in the sweatshop, and I mean that literally because with my little AC going full bore, it's 90 degrees in here. But at least it takes the edge off. I mean, just think how much money people out there spend to go to get a good sweat on in a spa. I can get it for free right here in my shop. So I just try to think of it like it's a pleasurable thing. So this is a Remington 7400 that came my way. And the length of pull is a mile short. So its original length of pull was this plastic stock with this ugly butt pad on it, recoil pad. Put it to about there, and then this is the new end of stock with this recoil pad to be my length of pull. So maybe I'll keep from getting scope eye, trying to stay away from the scope. And let's see if I hold this up to my arm there, if I can get the angle just right there in the camera. Well, that's hard to do backwards. Yep, that'll be a nice fit. The originally factory one, you can see how far away it was. Here's the recoil pad. It was just so far away from my bicep. It felt like shooting a child's toy gun. Even though it's 30-06. This is a Remington 7400. I think I said that at the beginning. Unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be, it's the model I have is the last year they were made. I'm pretty sure about that. I didn't fact check this. And that year they did a matte finish on the metal, which actually I kind of like since it's a hunting gun. It doesn't need to be gorgeous blued steel. Something that can get beat up sounds appropriate. And it had a plastic stock. Glass, reinforced plastic, some kind of thing. I sanded away on the inside of the hollow section of the stock and put a glob of Bondo on there to see if Bondo would stick to it. It does not. So I'm going to want to change the shape a little bit. So first off, I put this on so I can shoot it. I got scope mounts on order. Got a scope here I'm going to put on it, 3 to 12. You know, I'm mainly an air gunner, so it's an air gun stock. This has been my prop on stocks I finished for clients for a number of years now. And I put that on their action just so that it looks relative, having a scope on the action, so you can kind of see the shape of the buttstock and where the comb is and its relationship to the center of the optic. It's been a prop, but I think I'll probably put it on this gun. There is a Athlon Optics Talos 3 to 14 that interests me. I'm just not sure that my use of this gun warrants spending $300 when I have a perfectly used serviceable scope right here. In any case, I'm going to put the recoil pad on this that's going to go on the finished stock so I can shoot it and get it sighted in, get it ready for deer season. Because I can either shoot this ugly stock. There's not going to be anybody out there to see me. I don't care about showing off. But it may very well be that I'll get a custom stock made by end of August when deer season opens. But until then, I want to be working with the gun and loads and be able to shoot it. So I'll be shooting the master in a sense. Then I'm gonna probably add on a bigger chunk of wood than what I cut off of this to get this 90 degrees to the. You know, it's interesting. The top of the comb. It's very. It's optically weird to look at it by itself because of this angle. But when it's on the action, the factory comb actually turns out to be at exactly the right height for medium scope rings with a Weaver mount on here. So that's about 1¼ inches from the top of the action to the center of the optic, and center of the optic down to the comb is 2 inches, which is right about where I find most people's cheekbone to lie. The relationship is center of the eye to the bottom of the cheekbone is what I'm talking about. Center of the optic to the top of the comb. So that's very nice. It's just it has a lot of drop and cut to a really short length of pull. So by the time it's extended out, its size has gotten quite big. And additionally, I want to move, basically move the recoil pad up so that the top of the butt is in alignment with the top of the comb. And basically what I'm going to be making is what's called an American Classic stock, where the top of the comb goes straight all the way back to the recoil pad, and such a stock has minimal drop. Such a stock would not be, with the comb in alignment with the top of the forearm, typically 2 inches down from the optic. So I was about to say something that would have been a little bit wrong about iron sights, because if we used iron sights, then the top of the comb would just have to be lower, because we're looking for 2 inches from the center of the optic to the top of the comb, but it could still have the American Classic shape. Another way to accomplish increasing drop is to lower the toe, which is what has happened here, only to about a ½ inch. But the downside to that is recoil operates through an angle. It's less comfortable, and it's harder to control muzzle rise. When the recoil comes straight into the shoulder, the recoil is much more manageable. It's a much more comfortable gun to shoot. It's easier to do follow through and to be accurate with it. Although I guess follow through is not all that critical in firearm shooting like it is in air guns, but I've been doing follow through my whole life from shooting air guns, so why not? And I do seem to be able to shoot center fire rifles pretty darn accurate, so I think it's all good. So yep, that's the plan. I've got a piece of wood picked out for it. I'm going to have to turn a piece of steel on the lathe to go through the through-bolt hole, and what I'm thinking about doing is have it stick out on this end, and I'll turn a center hole in that rod, and it'll index on this end of the machine. And then this end, I'm going to do that also, and I'll index it into the center of the clamp mechanism I use at the other end, and then just clamp up onto it. That's my plan for how to deal with that. So I got to get a piece of steel rod to turn. And another challenge with this project is Bondo won't stick to the plastic, and I want to fill this in with Bondo here and make this line go all the way back. Yes, I wish I'd cut the wood a little bit bigger, but it's alright. Just a 3 big globs of Bondo, and wrap it with some Mylar to define the shape, and it'll be pretty close. Won't be very difficult to do. But the Bondo won't stick to this stuff. So then I was thinking, well, how about if I wrap it in masking tape? That sticks to this, but the Bondo doesn't stick to masking tape either. My current idea I'm kicking around is to just use regular bond paper and not 3M77, but the high strength 3M90 spray adhesive, which I got out of the cabinet earlier. Make sure I had eyeballs on it. I'm thinking, maybe stick a sheet of paper on with that. I think that'll be a very good adhesion. And I know Bondo sticks to paper. I'll test it. I think it does. I'm sure it does. Can't get it off a piece of paper towel. Yeah, I'm sure it'll stick to paper. So, all I needed to do is define the shape, and I also want to put a cheek piece on this side, and I'd like to do some other little modification here, but I can't really carve on the plastic. So that's my idea how to get some Bondo on it. Another bummer is I don't really want to destroy the plastic stock, because I might end up having to hunt with it if I don't get this project finished. And I'm not sure it would be advantageous anyway to remove the bottom. And where I'm going with this is by moving this up, this bottom line has to move up also, because basically we're taking the drop out. And if this were wood, why, I would just put it on the belt sander and change that angle until it's where I want it, round it off, easy peasy. But with the plastic, can't do it. I could sand it all the way back, but I wouldn't be able to shape it nice, so I don't know what advantage that gives me. So my plan is to do it post facto. I do want to try to get the cheek piece on there and fill up the top of the comb, but the bottom, I'll make that adjustment on the finished stock. That's my plan. Over the checkering, I'll just set the stylus a little bit high and leave a little extra wood. because there's no sense trying to fill this in with Bondo, right? I mean, it might kind of stay. I'll just set the stylus a little tie and cut that fat and shape that. This feels a little skinny to my hand anyway. I wouldn't mind having a little extra beefiness in there. So the forearm is going to provide its own challenges, again, because nothing sticks to this. I'm kind of curious how well hot melt glue would stick. Probably not well. Probably has virtually no peel strength. But it might have pretty good, you know, like stickiness, where if I cut a T shape out of a piece of 2x4 so that it slipped in here, you know, an inch or so, and hot melt glued it in there, I think that might hold good enough to carefully copy it. And then this end, I'm hoping that the rotation pin on the right side of the machine will just fit right in there, and I'll just spin it off of that. If not, I can make a little adapter piece, a washer or something. So that's my idea for this. The only hard part is copying the inletting, so I hadn't really looked at it critically. It's got a curve section here on the bottom. All my router bits are covered up by my tabletop on the duplicator, but that looks like that might be a long reach. I do have a custom tool I made once, might cut that. And then I do have a router bit that'll cut those inside slots. I feel pretty confident about that. Wow, it's square up here at the front. Hopefully, oh yeah, I don't need to be square. There's a ton of space there. That's just because they poured this in a mold. Okay, well, that's my update. This is the new project I'm going to be working on, and I do have an old project that I'm also going to be putting some sandpaper to in short order, and I'll bring you along with that. Thanks for staying with my channel, even though I was absent for a little bit there. Appreciate that. If you find this entertaining, please hit the thumbs up for me and consider subscribing and commenting. Thanks everybody. I'll see you soon. No, I won't. You'll see me soon. Bye.